Good morning, buenos días. How are you doing? ¿Cómo amanecieron mis amores? How did you wake up? I woke up a little bit sore because, like many of you, this new year, one of the things that I wanted to do was be a little bit more active, work out a little bit more, and now I'm paying a little bit of the consequences of stepping up the game without being in that great shape. So everything is hurting. Everything is hurting. But, trainers say that if it hurts, it's a little bit of a sign of, if it's sore, if it hurts a little bit, it's a sign of improvement. So I'm taking this soreness like a badge of honor. Buenos días. How is it going? If this is the first time you're tuning in, bienvenidos. Welcome. This is Live with Gaby Natale. Every day at 9 a.m. we connect with each other. This is a mini oasis that we have to recalibrate our energy, to start the day with the right foot, to set our intentions, and to exchange opinions, bring up topics that are going to improve our lives somehow. And we do this in multiple platforms. So good morning to everyone on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitch. Good morning to everyone. Today's topic is something that I'm very passionate about. When people are thinking about their own dreams, when people are thinking about what they want to do with their lives, or when people are thinking about how to pivot. So many people are pivoting careers, are doing different things. I think one fundamental question that you have to ask yourself, in addition to, will this be able to be something that I can make a living doing, or in addition to, what are the practical implications, is, am I following a dream that is my own dream, or am I doing something that is somebody else's dream for me? Somebody else wanted for me to be a doctor. Somebody else wanted for me to be, a dentist. I don't know. Somebody else, whether it is in my family, whether it is my significant other, am I following my own dream, or am I doing what I'm doing every day to meet somebody else's expectations? So that is the topic that we're going to have for today, as every day we're starting right after our initial credits. So Live with Gaby Natale starts right after these 20 seconds. There has never been a better time to be a pioneer than right now. Diversity is beautiful. Thank you. Good morning, and we're receiving some messages. I meditate from Twitter is saying, I am following you. Besitos, thank you so much for following. So let's remind ourselves, what is the topic for today? Are you following? And this is based on my book, The Virtuous Circle. If you want to know more, it's available on Amazon. It's available on any platform. And next week, it's going to be also available on Audible. I'm so excited that I got to narrate this audiobook. So today's topic, are you following your own dream, or are you trying to meet someone else's expectation of you? And I think a very practical way of doing this is dividing, like in two columns, like in two groups. What are the questions that people who are following their own dreams ask themselves, and what are the questions that people that are following somebody else's dream ask themselves? And sometimes it's not such a clear cut. Sometimes it's not so easy. Before studying journalism, I had a bachelor's. I graduated with a bachelor's in international relations. And as much as I love knowing what's going on in the world, as much as I know, as much as I love, having this wonderful education world events and how nations interact with each other and what international organizations are all about, I can't but to admit that when I was growing up and when I was 17 years old and I had to decide first what my career would be, what my profession would be, I was too young and I made the decision in a big part to meet someone else's expectations. And at that time, it was my parents' expectations of what someone like me should study, because I had good grades, because I spoke different languages, because there were a series of elements that would make me a good candidate for a career like that. But as I grew up and as I started owning more of who I was, owning more of what my interests were, I started to realize that that was not such a great match for me. And I started making the adjustments and the changes to actually follow something that was an honest, a truest reflection of who I was in terms of my occupation and in terms of my dream. So let's talk a little bit about what are the questions that you can ask yourself to check if you are following your own dream or if you are doing something that might be more aligned with somebody else's expectations about you or people like you. When I see people who are like third generation or fourth generation of let's say doctors, or they are running some family business, or they are in the same line of work, they are all lawyers in the same family or something like that, I always ask myself, how many of these people truly wanted to be a lawyer, to run the family business, or to do X, Y, or Z, or how much of that was based on this family's pressure or this organization's pressure to comply with whatever they wanted for that person. So question number one to ask yourself, if you are following somebody else's dream, one of the questions that you are going to ask yourself is, what do people in my position and status generally do? So what do people in your own, who graduated with you, let's say you went to a university or to a high school, what do people that generally are in your type of group, in your type of city, in your type of environment are expected to do, or your type of status? What do they do? Do they usually choose a certain type of careers? Do they usually choose a certain type of work? Are you checking out what other people are doing in order to make your own decision? If you're doing that, probably you are at the risk of following somebody else's dream instead of listening to your own voice, to your own vocation about what you want to do with your life. So there's a simple way of replacing this question. What do people in my position and status generally do? A great way to focus on your own inner desire, on your own inner vocation, would be to replace that question with this other one. What are the interests, the abilities, or preferences that make me unique and unrepeatable? So instead of trying to erase those things that make you unique and unrepeatable, instead of trying to see what everybody else is doing and trying to comply with people who are in the same group, who are in your same environment, think about what makes you stand out, what makes you different, what makes you have a different flavor, have a different style, have a different point of view. What are the experiences? What are the skills? What are the different things that make you unique and unrepeatable? Now, second question that people who are following somebody else's dream sometimes ask themselves, what should I be doing according to my age or to my profession? So these people are looking around and they're seeing, I'm in my 20s, I'm in my 30s, I'm in my 70s, I'm in my 60s. I'm looking around and I'm seeing what everybody else my age is doing, or what are other people in my profession are doing. And then you come up with a solution or you come up with a project not based on what you actually are feeling, but based on what other people in your environment are doing. So that is something that you have to take into consideration. If you're doing that, more than likely you might be following somebody else's dream. So one way to change the focus and switch the focus to whatever somebody else is doing and doing it on your own is to replace that question with this one: what activities make me profoundly happy? What professions are compatible with my personality? So instead of focusing so much on what people my age are doing, what people in my profession are doing, you switch the focus back to you and you ask yourself, what makes you profoundly happy? What is a true reflection of your interests? What is a true reflection of who you are and what you have to contribute to this world? What is compatible with your personality? One of the reasons why I changed and I switched from international relations to journalism and content creation and being an entrepreneur and now being a beauty founder as well was because when I looked around and I saw those environments for people who studied the same field that I studied in the past, I sensed that it was not the type of environment, it was not the type of crowd, it was not the type of tribe that I wanted to be a part of. So it was not compatible with my personality. And I was able to have that moment of honesty. And it was a tough moment because I had already graduated from this career. It was not that I studied 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. I did the whole thing. But I sat down and I said, you know what? This probably is not the best match for you. Try to think about other options and see how you can pivot and recalibrate what you are doing. Let me read you a little bit. Mario Magallanes is saying, Gaby, buenos días, que tengas un excelente día. Saludos, good morning, have a great day. Teo, good morning, Gaby. Thank you so much, Teo. So let me go back to this last and third question that you have to ask yourself to know if you're following your own dream or somebody else's dream. So if you're following somebody else's dream, more than likely, you are consciously or subconsciously asking yourself, what would make your parents, your children, your friends, or your partner happier? What is it that you're doing with your career that will make them happier or that will make them proud? And it's wonderful that you are taking other people into consideration, but when you're choosing your dream, making them happy or having their approval is probably not the best way to go about it. Making sure that you're having their approval or having their approval, let's put it this way, having their approval as the starting point is probably not the best way to approach it, because it's not coming from a place of truth. It's not coming from a place of, what do I want to do? What is going to make me happy? Imagine you spend your whole life doing something that you're doing out of needing somebody else's approval. At the end of the day, even if they love you, even if they think you're great at what you do, even if they admire you, at the end of the day, if you're not enjoying what you do, life is too short. If you're not enjoying what you do, if this is not making you happy, having their approval is not going to be enough for you to wake up every day and feel that you have the excitement, the energy, the enthusiasm to do whatever you want to do for that day. So instead of doing that, instead of focusing on having their approval and asking yourself, what are the achievements that will make your parents or your children happy, switch it back against to you. What decisions will promote the development of my higher self, my highest self? What skills that I have in me are skills that I can use to have a positive impact in the world. But at the same time, what are the skills and what are the decisions that are going to make me express a true uh, a true energy, a version of myself that is coming from what I say, my highest self, or something that comes from a place of truth, something that comes from being uniquely you. So that is something that you can think about when you're thinking about your dreams and different things. Oscar is saying, if people are not taking notes right now, they are making a huge mistake. Thank you so much, Oscar. Yes, but you know what? It's a process, Oscar, because I've been in that position where I was doubting what I was doing, when I was going to college, where I was going to university, and I was so young. And sometimes you don't know what makes you tick. You don't know what makes you happy. It takes a while, and it's a process. It can take. It took it took like 4 or 5 years. I graduated, and when I was like 2 or 3 months before graduating, I figured out that if I devoted my life to be a diplomat, which was what I studied, international relations, to be a diplomat or to work in an embassy, just because I already had the title, just because I knew I could speak multiple languages, just because I knew it came easy to me, I would not be happy. And I'm truly convinced I would be maybe a very successful but very unhappy bureaucrat from the embassy. So I never looked back, and I never regretted changing and switching my dreams and switching my career. And we get to live many more years, and we get to be active so many more years right now, that I believe it's absolutely wonderful to have more than one dream, and to keep changing it, and to keep adjusting it, and to make sure that you are adjusting that. Of course, we all have to make we need to have a living profession, something that will allow you to pay your bills, and even more, to thrive. But at the same time, I am truly convinced that you need to make sure that you're asking yourself these questions, because otherwise you start making habits that will make you numb, because you don't want to go to work, and so you eat more, you drink more, you tune out, you binge watch, because at the end of the day, what's lying beneath that is that you don't really like either your life, what you're doing, or how you're spending your day. So thank you, Oscar. Catalina is saying good morning. Oscar, gold advice. Catalina, exactly. Number 3, it's your responsibility to make yourself happy doing what makes you happy. I have always said this to my kids too, and it's wonderful advice. Oscar is saying, well said. I think it is a constant refinement when you are in your dream profession, speaking from experience. Absolutely. And he is in the creative field. He's doing photo shoots and different things, Oscar. So I think in the creative field, because they are not, no, it's very rare that parents tell their children, yes, go out and be a actor or be a photographer or be. Usually parents' advice comes from a really good place and comes from a place of choosing careers that are considered more of a safe bet. And I'm saying considered because right now very few careers other than the ones in technology are really a safe bet. So whoever is working probably in creative fields or is an entrepreneur, they had to face that resistance. They had to face most of the times, that look from their family or from their friends, like, are you really going to do this? I mean, isn't that too risky? Isn't that too weird to be doing? And that's why I think people coming from creative industries, usually we are more used than in other places to have that look of not so much approval from the people that surround us in the beginning. So let me recap for today. So today's topic is, are you following your own dream or trying to meet someone else's expectation of you? So if you're trying to meet somebody else's expectation, probably you're asking yourself, what do people in my position and status generally do? If you want to focus more on figuring out your own dream, you should switch to asking yourself, what are the interests, the abilities, or preferences that make me unique and unrepeatable, so that you can start mapping those qualities and figuring out what is something that is an honest expression of who you are. The second one is, if you're following somebody else's dream, more than likely you're asking yourself, what should I be doing according to my age, my profession, etc.? Again, you're looking outside and you're guiding yourself with age, somebody else's accomplishments, somebody else's past choices, to decide on your own future and to decide on your own life. So if you want to do the switch and focus more on what is your own dream, replace that question with this one. What activities make me profoundly happy? What professions are compatible with my personality? And last but not least, if you're focusing on somebody else's expectations for you or somebody else's dream, more than likely you're going to ask yourself, what are the achievements that I should be doing to make somebody else happy, to make your spouse, to make your children, to make your family? What should I be doing to be the perfect daughter, the perfect son? What should I be doing to be the perfect wife, the perfect husband? If you want to switch and come from a place of truthfulness, come from a place of owning your dream, the questions that you should ask yourself is, what decisions would promote the development of my higher self? What skills that make me happy can have a positive impact? So that was the topic for today. As I told you, sometimes I see so many families that have 4 or 5 generations of nurses, doctors, dentists, lawyers, I don't know, engineers, you name it. And I always ask myself, do really all this, what are the odds? What are the statistics of all these people in this family wanting the exact same profession, having the exact same interests? Are they really interested in this, or are they just complying because somebody else will get offended, or somebody else will not approve of their choices? Remember, as I always tell you, your uniqueness is your gift to this world. And it all goes back to the same, going back to who you are, doing the inner work, figuring out what makes you unique, embracing it, polishing it, and sending it back to the world. Now, remember also what I tell you, inner voice over outer noise. That vision that you have for yourself, that inner voice, that inner thing, that burning desire that you have, pay attention. Inner voice over outer noise. And the third one, as I always tell you, do the most out of this day. Make the call, take that risk, pitch that idea, pitch that project, because every time you open yourself up to the world opens itself up back to you. Your world will expand the more you open yourself up to the world. So this is it for today, guys. I love you so much. Besitos para todos. See you tomorrow, 9 a.m. here in Live with Gaby Natale.